I've been in China for 4 years.
So I've been in China for 5 years, since 2015.
En total llevo aproximadamente 10 años en China.
I started off in Nanjing. Pretty much every city on the island of Hainan, Sanya, Wanning, Kumeng, Boa, Shenzhen, Chengdu, Shanghai, Nanjing, of course, is where we are now, Ningbo, Wuxi, pretty much all over Jiangsu province.
So I have always lived here in Nanjing since 2015. All these 5 years I lived here, but I traveled around China, a lot of cities in Jiangsu, and I've also been to Harbin, Beijing. I also been to Jihuandao, right? And also to Yunnan and Guilin, and a lot of places in China. Xi'an.
En China he visitado muchas ciudades, por ejemplo en Dongbei he ido a Harbin, Shenyang, por ejemplo Beijing, Tianjin, Xi'an, Luoyang, Kaifeng. Por el sur también por ejemplo Shanghai, Suzhou, Hangzhou, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Kunming 等等等等。
One change that would be in that line is this new fast train, right?
Yeah.
Like since I've been here, the trains have gotten faster and faster, which is great. It's marvelous. It makes things so much easier and accessible. But to me, as a foreign person here, the thing that I have noticed the most is the availability of apps with English interface. Right? They actually are in English and you can understand them and you can use them.
For example, I noticed in Nanjing, they built so many metro lines. I noticed the increase of the speed, in the Gaotie. So when I first came, it was like they were saying, okay, it was 200, 250 kms or 300 kms, and now you see in the news like, okay, Shanghai, Beijing, 400. So it's the development is really fast. The railway lines, now you can reach more places, more cities, and you can reach them faster.
En China, las ciudades importantes tienen una red de transporte muy buena, ¿vale? El único problema es que tienes que tener cuidado si es la hora de trabajar o cuando sales de trabajar, porque hay mucha gente en el metro, en los autobuses, a veces hay mucha gente.
I've been here for 4 years. When I got here, we had WeChat and Alipay. Now we have WeChat and Alipay. Right? There's not been any real change, except for some attempts to make it more secure, but those are hit and good miss. Other than that, like where I've seen technology make things better has nothing to do really with buying things or selling things. It mostly has to do with making things more accessible. Making things more efficient.
For example, I really like that you can pay the metro or the bus with Alipay. Before, when I just arrived, you had to buy the tickets, and it was a bit difficult because the machines also, they had English, but somehow also they had Chinese, and I couldn't read it at first. So it's like you have to queue for the ticket, and also to buy a train ticket you have to also queue and stuff. And now it changed so much because now you can just scan the code in the metro and you can just enter.
Primero, en las compras, claro, China es number one, especialmente con, por ejemplo, Alipay, Taobao, JD. Es súper fácil comprar y sobre todo comprar en internet es muy conveniente. Además, por ejemplo, en la forma de pago, en España todavía seguimos usando efectivo, muchos billetes, monedas o tarjeta para pagar. Y no sé, yo ya me he acostumbrado a pagar con Alipay o con Weibo, puede ser Weibo, Weixin, ¿vale? Entonces pagar con teléfono es mucho más conveniente. Y cuando vuelvo a casa yo no me acostumbro a pagar con dinero, no sé para qué uso el dinero.
As far as equipment and technology goes, it honestly just depends on where you are.
There have been some changes in the equipment. For example, we are in a classroom full of computers, which is really good, and the system is well connected. So you can do conversation or listening, which is very convenient. There's also very nice things like the smart boards, for example, not only the projector. Regarding the students, it's also good. I see, before it wasn't like this, but now everyone is with their own tablet or iPad. It's really good because they can find the information, very quickly.
Sobre las clases sí, porque, por ejemplo, yo vine a China en el 2007 y la universidad era una universidad muy pequeña, era una universidad privada, entonces en las clases no teníamos ordenador, no teníamos proyector, no teníamos altavoces tampoco, entonces tenía que llevar mi propio ordenador a la clase y sobre todo usar mucho la pizarra, entonces las clases han cambiado muchísimo. Por ejemplo, ahora cuando vas a la clase tienes todo preparado, tienes tu ordenador.
As far as the students themselves, I have noticed a push for more, realistic education, right? It's a waste of time to watch people memorize all these words, but they don't know what to do with them. So it's been good to kind of see people back away a bit from that old traditional way of teaching vocabulary like that. My students are more open-minded. Over the last 4 years, I've taught students from ages 3 to 66. And one of the things that seems to be connected through all of them is they really want to understand, how do we use English now?
Con respecto a los estudiantes, sí han cambiado mucho también, porque en el tiempo, en el 2007, cuando yo llegué, eran sobre todo estudiantes que venían del campo o de ciudades muy pequeñas en Hebei, entonces eran muy inocentes, no conocían muchas cosas, ni siquiera de la ciudad. Después, con los años, por ejemplo, después de 2, 3 años, 4 años, los estudiantes cambiaron mucho. Se hicieron más autónomos, más independientes, ya conocían muchas más cosas.
The quickness in which things can be built and can be built in a stable condition. Buildings go up quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly. I have lived in my apartment for 2 years, and near my apartment they are building like 2 or 3 new subway stations, a little bypass bridge, all this other stuff. And I feel like every month there is something new that just has popped up out of nowhere. Things move quick. When companies, when the government decides to truly move and do something with construction, they get it done. It's kind of amazing to think about how fast certain buildings go up. It took them 6 months to build a whole new wing onto my apartment complex. Only 6 months. So that is what impresses me, is how quick things can be built here when there is energy to have them built.
Yes, for example, in the city, I have been in Nanjing for the past 5 years. So I was just telling you before, like the different areas are changing so much, Maybe for sometimes I haven't been to an area or a neighborhood or a street, and then I arrive to that place, and that place is a different building, or just like completely different, maybe a different construction, or before there was a building and now it's not anymore, like after a year, or they just like build some like very high skyscraper, So yeah, it's really impressive. And regarding the culture, the heritage, I really hope this advancement doesn't take over your culture. I think that's one of the things that worries me somehow.
Sobre todo lo de los pagos ha sido un cambio. Yo creo que uno de los mayores cambios ha sido en general la organización. La organización en general del país ha cambiado mucho. Antes, a principios del siglo XXI, ¿vale? En 2007, 2008, 2009, cuando tú venías a China sentías un poco de desorganización, ¿vale? Las cosas no estaban tan organizadas. Pero desde unos años después, a partir del 2008, especialmente los Juegos Olímpicos, hay un cambio súper rápido en todo el país. Y todo empieza a tener como muchas más estructura, mucho más organizado. Hay un desarrollo en China en todos los aspectos del país. En la organización, en el transporte, en la economía, en la comida, en todo. Y la diferencia con respecto a otros países es que ese desarrollo no para, sino que continúa. Entonces, en ese desarrollo todavía sigue desarrollándose y los factores.